Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we are going to continue reading from chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita as it is. This chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga, where we are going to hear about some of the vibhutis of Lord Krishna, some of his opulences. It's called the opulence of the Absolute. So would somebody like to begin reading?
Okay, I can read.
Okay.
Text 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bhuya eva mahabahu Shrinum paramam vachah Yatte aham priya manaya Vakshayami hita kamaya ya. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Listen again, O mighty armed Arjuna, because you are my dear friend. For your benefit I shall speak to you further, giving knowledge that is better than what I have already explained. Purport. The word Bhagwan is explained thus by Parashar Muni, one who is full in 6 opulences, who has full strength, full fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation, is Bhagwan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. While Krishna was present on this earth, he displayed all 6 opulences. Therefore, great sages like Parashar Muni have all accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Krishna is instructing Arjuna in more confidential knowledge of his opulences and his work. Previously, beginning with the 7th chapter, the Lord has already explained his different energies and how they are acting. Now, in this chapter, he explains his specific opulences to Arjuna. In the previous chapter, he has clearly explained his different energies to establish devotion and firm conviction. Again, in this chapter, he tells Arjuna about his manifestations and various opulences. The more one hears about the Supreme God, the more one becomes fixed in devotional service. One should always hear about the Lord in the association of devotees. That will enhance one's devotional service. Discourses in the society of devotees can take place only among those who are really anxious to be in Krishna consciousness. Others cannot take part in such discourses. The Lord clearly tells Arjuna that because Arjuna is very dear to him, for his benefit, such discourses are taking place.
So what
The
is
more
Lord Krishna saying? I'm sorry.
No, I thought there's more. So, okay.
Okay. So what is Lord Krishna saying in this?
Lord Krishna is going to give some knowledge which is better than what he has already explained. He's going to explain something more about his opulences.
And why is he speaking this to Arjuna?
Because he is his friend and pure devotee.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So that's how Krishna is revealing himself to his friend, to his devotee. Arjuna is not envious of Krishna, so he wants to know more and more about Krishna. So that's how we can also understand more and more about Krishna. We can hear more and more about Krishna in the association of devotees. Okay. What's going on?
Text 2. Name vido sura gana prabhavam na maharsaya aham adirhi devanam maharthinam cha sarvasha. Translation. Neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin or opulences, for in every respect I am the source of the demigods and sages. Purport. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord. No one is greater than him. He is the cause of all causes. Here it is also stated by the Lord personally that he is the cause of all the demigods and sages. Even the demigods and great sages cannot understand Krishna. They can understand neither his name nor his personality. So what is the position of the so-called scholars of this tiny planet? No one can understand why the Supreme God comes to earth as an ordinary human being and executes such wonderful, uncommon activities. One should know then that scholarship is not the qualification necessary to understand Krishna. Even the demigods and the great sages have tried to understand Krishna by their mental speculation, and they have failed to do so. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, also it is clearly said that even the great demigods are not able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They can speculate to the limits of their imperfect senses and can reach the opposite conclusion of impersonalism, of something not manifested by the three qualities of material nature. Or they can imagine something by mental speculation. But it is not possible to understand Krishna by such foolish speculation. Here, the Lord indirectly says that if anyone wants to know the absolute truth, here I am present as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I am the Supreme. One should know this. Although one cannot understand the inconceivable Lord who is personally present, he nonetheless exists. We can actually understand Krishna, who is eternal, full of bliss and knowledge, simply by studying his words in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The conception of God as some ruling power or as the impersonal Brahman can be reached by persons who are in the inferior energy of the Lord. But the personality of Godhead cannot be conceived unless one is in the transcendental position. Because most men cannot understand Krishna in his actual situation, out of his causeless mercy, he descends to show favor to such speculators. Yet, despite the Supreme Lord's uncommon activities, these speculators, due to contamination in the material energy, still think that the impersonal Brahman is the Supreme. Only the devotees who are fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord can understand by the grace of the Supreme Personality that He is Krishna. The devotees of the Lord do not bother about the impersonal Brahman conception of God. Their faith and devotion bring them to surrender immediately unto the Supreme Lord, and out of the causeless mercy of Krishna, they can understand Krishna. No one else can understand him. So even great sages agree. What is Atma? What is the Supreme? It is He whom we have to worship.
So, in the previous purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying, what's the definition of Bhagavan by Parasar Muni? Right? What is it?
Sorry, I didn't understand your question.
Here in this purport, in the previous purport,
Yeah,
Parasar Muni has said, who is
yeah.
Bhagavan? So who is he?
One who has in full six opulences.
Yeah, that's right. Only that person can be called Bhagavan. So we can see that Krishna is full in all these opulences. And so, therefore, he is called Bhagavan by all the great personalities. It's not only Krishna himself is saying here, but even the scriptures are saying, and the great sages are accepting Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So, and what do we understand by this purpose?
That he's the cause of all the causes and of all the demigods and sages too.
Yeah, that's right. And there's, there are 33 crore demigods. And even the the demigods don't understand Krishna properly. Yeah, because there's so many demigods also. Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, they can understand Krishna by Krishna's grace. So Krishna's grace is important. But otherwise, it's not easy to understand Krishna. And Prabhupada is saying how we can understand Krishna. Here in this purport, he's saying.
By studying his words in the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. That's how we can understand Krishna as he is. And Krishna reveals himself by his mercy. One can understand Krishna. So Krishna, by his grace, he gives grace to somebody who is sincerely trying to understand him through the authority, through the scriptures, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. And then by Krishna's mercy, he reveals. Okay, let's go on then.
So, text 3. Yo mam ajam anadim cha veti loka maheshwaram asamudha samartesu sarva papeh pramuchyate. Translation. He who knows me as the unborn, as the beginningless, as the supreme lord of all the worlds, he only, undeluded among men, is freed from all sins. Purport. As stated in 7 chapter 7.3, Manushya nam sahasreshu kaschid yatate siddhyate. Those who are trying to elevate themselves to the platform of spiritual realization are not ordinary men. They are superior to millions and millions of ordinary men who have no knowledge of spiritual realization. But out of those actually trying to understand their spiritual situation, one who can come to the understanding that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, the proprietor of everything, the unborn, is the most successful spiritually realized person. In that stage only, when one has fully understood Krishna's supreme position, can one be free completely from all sinful reactions. Here the Lord is described by the word Aja, meaning unborn. But he is distinct from the living entities who are described in the second chapter as Aja. The Lord is different from the living entities who are taking birth and dying due to material attachment. The conditioned souls are changing their bodies, but his body is not changeable. Even when he comes to this material world, he comes as the same unborn. Therefore, in the fourth chapter, it is said that the Lord, by his internal potency, is not under the inferior material energy, but is always in the superior energy. In this verse, the words Veti Loka Maheshwaram indicate that one should know that Lord Krishna is the supreme proprietor of the planetary systems of the universe. He was existing before the creation and he is different from his creation. All the demigods were created within this material world, but as far as Krishna is concerned, it is said that he is not created. Therefore, Krishna is different even from the great demigods like Brahma and Shiva. And because he is the creator of Brahma, Shiva, and all other demigods, he is the supreme person of all planets. Sri Krishna is therefore different from everything that is created, and anyone who knows him as such immediately becomes liberated from all sinful reactions. One must be liberated from all sinful activities to be in knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Only by devotional service can he be known and not by any other means, as stated in Bhagavad Gita. One should not try to understand Krishna as a human being. As stated previously, only a foolish person thinks him to be a human being. This is again expressed here in a different way. A man who is not foolish, who is intelligent enough to understand the constitutional position of the Godhead, is always free from all sinful reactions. So the purport is very long. Do we want to?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, if it goes on longer, yeah, let's speak first. So, what are we hearing till now? What do we understand?
Like who knows Krishna as Bhagwan? They are like free from all the sinful reactions.
Yeah.
Bhagwan means like unborn, and who's not, who never comes under material energy.
Yes. That's
Mm.
right.
Yeah,
So what's the difference between us and living entities and the Lord? The living entity were also called
because we are taking birth
Aja
and
in the second
time,
chapter. Mm.
because we are attached to Maya. We are in the modes of nature, but God is beyond. He's transcendental to the three modes of nature, and he because he was never born, so he doesn't have any death.
Yeah, and he
He
never
have
changes his body. He never changes his body. We keep on taking different material bodies. Yeah. So that's a big difference because both of us come to this material world. We take material
Mm.
body, Krishna never takes. So then the proprietor, we are thinking this belongs to me, this belongs to me. Who is actually the proprietor?
Krishna himself.
Krishna himself. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. Then we'll continue.
Yeah. If Krishna is known as the son of Devaki, then who can he be unborn? Then how can he be unborn? That is also explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. When he appeared before Devaki and Vasudev, he was not born as an ordinary child. He appeared in his original form and then he transformed himself into an ordinary child. Anything done under the direction of Krishna is transcendental. It cannot be contaminated by material reactions, which may be auspicious or inauspicious. The conception that there are things auspicious and inauspicious in the material world is more or less a mental concoction because there is nothing auspicious in the material world. Everything is inauspicious because the very material nature is inauspicious. We simply imagine it to be auspicious. Real auspiciousness depends on activities in Krishna consciousness and full devotion and service. Therefore, if we at all want our activities to be auspicious, then we should work under the directions of the Supreme Lord. Such directions are given in authoritative scriptures such as Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, or from a bona fide spiritual master. Because the spiritual master is the representative of the Supreme Lord, his direction is directly the direction of the Supreme Lord. The spiritual master, saintly persons, and scriptures direct in the same way. There is no contradiction in these three sources. All actions done under such direction are free from the reactions of pious and or impious activities of this material world. The transcendental attitude of the devotee is the performance of activities. In the performance of activities is actually that of renunciation, and this is called sannyas. As stated in the first verse of the sixth chapter of Bhagavad Gita, one who acts as a matter of duty because he has been ordered to do so by the Supreme Lord and who does not seek shelter in the fruits of his activities, anashrita karma phalam, is a true renouncer. Anyone acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord is actually a sannyasi and a yogi, and not the man who has simply taken the dress of a sannyasi or a pseudo yogi.
Okay. So
Hmm.
how is it unborn? That Krishna is unborn?
Because he never takes birth as an original, like ordinary child. He appears is in his original form and then he becomes ordinary child. We can,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. And what about auspicious and inauspicious?
Auspicious and inauspicious takes place when there are material reactions.
Yeah, but what is Prabhupada trying to tell us about auspicious, inauspicious here in the material world?
We think that something is auspicious, but actually nothing is auspicious in this material world.
Yeah,
We are just, yeah. Our mind is just contaminated and conditioned into thinking that auspiciousness uh, occurs in this material world, but no.
Yeah. So what is real auspiciousness?
Anything that we do, any activities that we perform, and by keeping Krishna in the center, like devotional service.
Yeah, devotional service. That's right. That's the real auspicious activity, real auspiciousness, working for Krishna. Okay, and here Prabhupada is mentioning that Sadhu Guru Shastra, you know, that's the test. There's no contradiction. The Guru and Sadhu will speak from the Shastra.
Mm.
And so in that way, there's no contradiction. If someone is not speaking from the scriptures, then and there is contradiction in what they're saying to the scriptures, then that is the test.
Mm.
That should be actually, are they the real sadhu or real spiritual master? Okay. So then, who is a real sannyasi? Real yogi?
Who acts under this material world just as a matter of duty to do what Krishna has said, has
Yeah,
ordered. Mm.
that's it. Okay. Thank you. So is the next one long or it's short?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
very long. Next,
It's a long verse, yeah.
very, very
long
long.
one.
Mhm.
Okay, so
You can
maybe we can stop
It
here
covers
then.
4 pages
Oh
of the book.
wow. Oh,
Yeah.
oh wow. Okay, okay. So then we can stop here. Maybe you all want to share anything? We can any realizations, any
Actually, in the second text that we read today, in its purport, it's written that in the second last paragraph, last line, the conception of God as some ruling power or as the impersonal Brahman can be reached by persons who are in the inferior energy of the Lord. So
mm,
it's mentioned that the conception of God as some ruling power. So because
mm,
mostly I have heard people say that they believe that there is one ruling power, but they don't know. So at that that is also like, um, is that good or no? If they think that it is like God is there is one God who is in the power.
uh,
That's it.
yeah, that's good because at least there is some
Mm.
conception that yes, God is there and He's higher than me. So it is good. There's gradual elevation of consciousness, right? Because
Mm.
not everyone can take up Krishna consciousness immediately, but at least somebody has that understanding. And then they can progress further if they get association of devotees, then they can
Mm.
advance further and try to understand who is this supreme controller.
So it's mentioned that these conceptions are reached by persons who are in the inferior energy of the Lord. So inferior
Mm.
energy means who are like entrapped in the three modes.
Yeah,
Okay, so inferior energy is the material energy.
yes,
Mm. Okay.
yeah. But at least because there is some understanding of God, there is some understanding of somebody greater, then with under proper association, they may also gradually progress to become devotees, understand Krishna.
Mm. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
let's
you.
stop here. Yeah, thank you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna,